Hello, everyone. A very good morning, afternoon, and evening to all. Dear authors and invited guests, welcome to technical session 6D. Myself, Anisha, and this session would be moderated by me. On behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation and GR Scholastic LLP, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Third World Conference on Information Systems for Business Management, ISBM 2024, Bangkok, Thailand. The third edition of the conference is being organized in a hybrid mode. The physical event is organized today in Bangkok, Thailand, and the virtual event is being held through Zoom today and tomorrow, that is 12th and 13th of September 2024. I hope you all will enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions throughout the day. In this session, we have 6 presentations, and each presenter will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for question and answers. And on 10 minutes, I'll be raising a gentle reminder. There's another request to all the participants that you all please stay connected with us till the closing of the session. And if you have any query or update, you can write it to me in the chat box. So just before we start the session, I'd like to introduce you all to the chair for this session, Dr. Anubha Jain. She's currently working as a director, School of Computer Science and IT IIS, deemed to be University, Jaipur. An academician for the last 22 years, she has actively contributed in teaching, industry, and R&D. Her research interests include soft computing, computational studies, IoT, and software engineering. She is the author of 9 books and has published a number of papers at national as well as international level. So I welcome you to the session, ma'am.
Thank you, Anisha. Thank you very much. And I wish all the best to all the participants who are here to present their research work. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll be moving on to the first presenter of the session. We have T2 Singh Arora with the paper title, A Clustering Ensemble Approach to Improving Text Classification Adding Anti-Dictionary. Sir, if you're here, you can start with your presentation. Well, I believe we don't have him in the session right now, so we'll be moving forward to the next one. Next up, we have Jefferson with the paper title, A Multivocal Literature Review on Data Ops, Concepts, Benefits, and Challenges. Sir, you may begin with the presentation.
Yeah, hello, Anisha. Hello, everyone. Hope you can hear me well. Anisha,
yes,
can you make
you're clearly audible.
Yeah, can you make me co-host so I can share my slides?
Yeah, you have the option now. You can share it.
Thank you. Perfect. So here we are. My name is Jefferson Moletti, and I'm presenting this work that I did in collaboration with my master's student, Eng Sin Chung, or I like to call her Carrie. She's also a student here at Christiania and a practitioner at Aker Solutions here in Norway. So last year, we worked on this multivocal literature review on data ops. And for the ones that are not familiar with the concept, data ops is this approach for a continuous cycle that combines data development and data operations. So it's very similar to DevOps, but related to data operations and development of tools that will analyze and manage data for organizations. What we can see from this cycle is there is a strong focus into collaboration between the two parts, the data development, we will call, and the data operations. And for this collaboration to work well, an automation is kind of a key factor here. The two departments or the two units or the two factors in this picture, they cannot work together if we don't have a proper automation going on. As data is moving faster and faster today, companies are recording, collecting, and processing data faster. The decision-making process, the business part, the business value provided to the company, have to also be provided with that same agility. And this is what DataOps is planned to is aimed to solve. So as I mentioned, collaboration and automation are the key factors. It's trying to ensure that the data is processed and deliver value into organization. Let's say, for instance, you are working on a healthcare. The daily operations of medical people will provide new data. This new data will be processed as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and providing new information for the administration or for the business side to make decisions. For instance, what materials we have to buy to make sure that the healthcare organization will not lack the input to process our customers. Great thing about data ops is aimed as improve the quality and the cycle time for data analytics. Now, data ops is quite an emerging discipline. The term has appeared first time in 2014 and have been gained a little bit of traction in 2018 when appeared in the Gartner report, giving us, okay, this is an innovation trigger. This is something that's coming and will become part of our daily innovation in a few years. So these few years are now, and data ops have been discussed a lot in the practice, but not very much in the academics. This growing importance from the practitioners lead us academics to think about, okay, but how can we actually define and how can we actually describe these data ops concepts? What this is actually entails. So our main research goal is to consolidate these concepts that are quite new to the academic field and identify claimed benefits and claimed challenges from DevOps. We look at fundamental concepts, we look at benefits, and we look at challenges. These are our three research questions. To achieve that, we did what we call the multivocal literature review. So it's a systematic literature review that collects data not only from academic literature, but also from practitioners' grade literature. So as you see, we have two different processes that will combine the sources from both academic databases and from common web search engine. We use Google search engine, were combined to build a common data set that we use to identify these terms and these benefits. By the end, we have collected 9 papers from the academic database and 12 sources from the grade literature. On the grade literature, we opt for the ones that have a higher degree of relevance and rigor. That means we are not looking at personal blogs, but we are looking at publications, we are looking at websites of companies, and we are looking at educational websites. So this is how our data source looks in the end. 9 papers from the academic literature. I will not list all the reference here. Please look at the paper if you want to go further into that. And on the right side, you have the websites and the source where you collected from the grade literature. What we can see clear from this image that first, the topic is quite new. Besides this professional blog post from Liebman in 2014, all the reference came from 5 years to now, right? And we have more grade literature than academic literature. Even excluding the ones looking just for the high quality, we still have more grade literature than academic literature. The academic literature is still quite new, as you see just 2 journal papers. Most of them are still on conference side. On the grade literature, things to highlight, we have educational websites, EWS here, and commercial companies' websites, EWS, are the most common sources for it. But professional communities through data ops and professional blogs also appear. And 2 books that we consider the high rigor, the high relevant reference for this work. Some that we would like to highlight. So if you are new to the topic and you would like to know more without having to read all the papers that we listed there, where you should start from. If you are a researcher looking to get deep into data ops, the 3 papers, they cover most of the concepts that we discussed here. So they cover all the concepts on fundamental key concepts of data ops. The first paper, Good Practice, cover most of the challenges that we mentioned. The second paper, From DevOps to Data Ops, it covers also the benefits. And the third paper seems to be, for now, the most referenced, the most cited work. On the right side, you have the 2 books that we mentioned, and this is the top one, the upmost relevant reference on the grade literature. So Practical Data Ops is a book published in 2019, and the report from O'Reilly, also reported in 2019, are the common source for practitioners. So if you want to know more, but not an academic literature, I would suggest to start from these sources. Okay, looking from our research questions, what did we find? After collecting all of these, we went through a quality analysis of our data. We extracted the most relevant topics and themes and aggregated them into qualitative data analysis. Okay, so these are the 4 main topics that we consider important for data ops. You need people, process, development, and infrastructure. You can find other references that use technology as people, process, and technology. We break down the technology element into development and infrastructure as we see enough difference between them. So from the people side, cross-functional collaboration. You need several organizations in the company, several departments working together. You need an improvement culture. From the process side, automation is a key factor, and you can draw from the DevOps for continuous integration, continuous deployment, data governance, and so on. Testing and monitoring. And on the development of the data transformations, algorithms for machine learning models, and common data interface. On the infrastructure, the importance of it, this enterprise-grade platform, and the part of the infrastructure as a code, as a software infrastructure, not as a hardware. More details of this you can find for sure in the paper. The benefits for data ops span from the business to operations, quite expected, but also into data quality. So companies that employ data ops are expected to have enhanced collaboration inside, reduced cycle times, and data-driven operations decisions to go much better than the ones that don't apply. On operational level, unified platform and automation for efficiency are the top ones. And on data quality, the continuous monitoring and validation ensure that my data would have the best quality that I could achieve in that scenario. Now, look that most of the benefits are cited in the gray literature. 8 out of 12 sources cited benefits, which means that from commercial side, it's always good to advertise, to market the benefits of the solution. And we don't have good evidence of all these benefits into academics, into an evaluation aspect yet. Just 3 out of the 9 papers mention benefits of data ops. So these have to be further investigated. On the challenge, there are fragmented data everywhere. You have to work hard to make sure that your data is synchronized and aggregated correctly. Data quality requires that there are a lot of accuracy and consistency issues, data missing, people that don't include inputs properly, and that will lead to data that is not on the topmost quality. You need the team structure in the organization. You need a very strong team working with data ops, and that includes several departments, I would say, several organizations inside the organization. This collaboration in between the departments, interdepartmental, is very, very essential and is a big challenge to overcome. On the organizational culture, you need to train and to focus people into data-driven practices. They need to understand the importance of the data and how to ensure that this quality will be, achieved. Now, the challenges are much more prevalent in the academic literature. We basically find no reference of this challenge in the practitioners' websites. Mostly, again, we assume because of the marketing value. People don't want to actually expose clearly on their websites. There is big issues to be covered first. That saying, what are the implications of our research to practitioners and to other researchers? So first, make clear that you need collaboration between different organizations and a common culture across the team. Automated data and data governance are important for quality monitoring, and investment on training are essential to make sure that these people that this new topic have been discussed and understand enough in the organization to lead to the innovations. From a research perspective, we need to explore better the different platform approaches and also investigate how automated testing can help into data governance. Can we actually ensure the quality in a more automated way, or do you have actually to involve people in this process continuously? As we embrace DataOps, there is even more to explore. We are here into a very explorative stage, trying to set up the first stages in our research on DataOps. Okay, the conclusions here are just the ones summarize what we said before. DataOps is about integrating people, process development, and infrastructure. The main benefits are collaboration and automation. We reduce cycle time, and we can improve the quality of our data. Many challenges with data fragmentation, ensure the quality, and working as a team, breaking out these cultural barriers. And this is it. I would like just to finish this presentation with a short slide. I think most of you are not very familiar to Christiania. Christiania University has this name because we are actually Oslo. So if you come to Norway, we are in the center of the capital. The city of Oslo, a few hundred years ago, or 100 years and something ago, when Christiania was founded, was called Christiania at the time. And in this picture, you can clearly see our main street, Karl Johan. On the left side, the old picture of Christiania, the new Oslo, the booming Oslo on the right side. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm open for questions about this presentation and the topic.
Okay, it was a very interesting presentation as such. Presentation was made beautifully. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Yeah. So tell me, what is the future plans that you have planned after doing this review, multivocal review?
Yeah, this multivocal review was to set the foundations for it, and this was the master work of my student. But we are looking now for opportunities of, there are companies in Oslo applying DataOps in practice. That is a point that we can look upon now that we have a framework to describe this process in an academic way. We can look at practitioners that use that and actually start to do, let's say, a case study in a proper way. We are not looking to build a theory, but to investigate how these challenges that we mentioned from the literature and how these benefits they actually realize in practice.
Have you tried to address any one particular challenge from the given list of challenges that you have identified?
No, not in particular yet. As I told you, when we look for a case study, we want the company, the practitioners that are applying to actually drive us. We don't want to direct them to a particular challenge, right? We want them to tell us what are the issues that they commonly have. And if the issues that they are having are not described in the literature yet, we have a gap that is worth exploring.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That
Thank
is
you
it
so
from
much
my
for the
side.
presentation.
Sorry?
Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, we'll
Thank-
be moving forward to the next one now. We have Manoj R with the paper title Adapt Fish Sysnet Adaptive Fishing Detection System for Blockchains Using Machine Learning. So Manoj, you may please start with your presentation.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Manoj. I'm a faculty in Computer Science Engineering Department from Manipal University, Manipal, and I'm also a research scholar in Manipal University, Jaipur. I am along the co-authors, Dr. Sandeep Joshi, Mr. Aravind, and Dr. Trupti C, present to you my research topic on adaptive fishing detection system for blockchain using machine learning, which is named as Adapt Fish Sysnet. This is my outline of a presentation wherein I am going to cover about the different introductions, motivation, phishing attack, and so on. So let me begin with the introduction, wherein we know that internet is an integral part of our daily life, and we have seen that a lot of malicious activities happens in internet. I tried to detect one such activity in our research, that is the phishing attack, which is very, very challenging to detect and to prevent. So the common way of identifying the phishing is using the blacklisting of URLs. And now I have nowadays, due to the emergence of ML, we have different tools for combating the phishing attack. And the motivation behind my research was on the case of the different cases of phishing attack which happened in the blockchain areas, wherein a lot of $1 million have been lost due to phishing attack. And I've taken a particular case study of an IOTA cryptocurrency. There is an Internet of Things cryptocurrency application which had a loss of around $4 million. So in this concentration, I felt that a need for a proper URL detection system for phishing attacks. Phishing attacks we can classify based on the features which we can analyze, based on content, based on website metadata, based on visual similarity, and based on behavioral analysis. These are some of the features which are analyzed from the phishing attacks. And the content wherein we find some suspicious languages. In website, we can see something about the registration information, host details, and visual similarity. We can notice about the layout of the design, and behavioral analysis based on the lot of attempts made, sudden changes in the pattern, abnormal login activities. Upon analyzing these features and different structures of URL, I have done extensive research review, wherein I have already reviewed around 50 papers. Out of this, I have taken some 6 papers, which is more relevant for our finding the gap. And I identified that many people have used the phishing detection based on graph neural networks, ensemble learning, and also based on the different ways of handling the transaction networks. So again, the future prospects I found out, but many of them have not used the deep learning models, and many of them has not used detection using machine learning algorithms. The further studies which I have seen, I have taken a data set from the study done in 2012, wherein they assessed phishing based on an automatic technique. And another reference which I have taken on the phishing attack detection, wherein they use the continual learning and the neural network, the vanilla model, for identifying the phishing. There also I have found out the future prospects of better ML techniques for identifying detection. And I have also read a survey paper on the blockchain technology, wherein I've analyzed different security threats and different challenges of it. So based on the gap found out on my research, I have frame the objectives, to identify the phishing URLs, and to blacklist and update the malicious URL content, and also to classify the attacks on long run without the high level of models able to generalize, and to compare various models and other phishing URL detection methods. So this is the proposed system which I have developed, that is adapt PhishSysNet, wherein I have identified that the URL of a blockchain website can be taken as an input, and if it is already stored in a database, then we can it's a blacklist database is there already, and the URL which I want to identify is already present in the database, then I can classify such phishing. If the URL is not found, then comes our role of using a proper ML model. So I have chosen, based on our different analysis, I have found that DenseNet is a better model, ML model. I extract necessary features for DenseNet and classify based on the DenseNet model, and we append the old blacklist database with the new URL encounters. And once it is again recorrected by using adaptive learning, that's we are using incremental learning for correcting, and we have generated new records, and the existing ML model retained with the new records. So the dataset used, I have already told you that I have used dataset which is taken from a paper which is reference number 5, and dataset has 31 features totaling of 6,157 URLs, and I have taken the hot encoding technique to classify the values into Boolean values -1, 1, and 0, wherein certain features are present. Represented by 1, absent by -1, and failed by 0. And I have also done normalization, and we have split the data into 2 categories. That is 80 for testing and 80 for training. 80 for training. And these are the features considered for our analysis from the dataset. And I've used the RusNet as a model for the starting point of the classification. And I have used RusNet because it mitigates the problem of vanishing gradient problem, wherein when we increase the more layers in neural network, it leads to the vanishing gradient problem, wherein the accuracy is compromised. So I have gone to residual networks, which mitigates the vanishing gradient problem. And I tried to use the RusNet model for testing and training. And I have identified 3 different variants of RusNet. And ultimately, during the research, I found out that DenseNet is a more better version which provides the feed-forward fashion, improved gradient flow, and feature reuse. And based on the performance of the overall testing and training, from the top 3 models, DenseNet, RusNet, and pre-React residual, I have found that DenseNet performs better in terms of accuracy, precision, and recall. These are the results obtained during machine learning model comparison, and I have found out that DenseNet has more accuracy, precedence, recall, F1 score, and F1 train score compared to other models which I have analyzed. So you can see that I have compared starting from logical regression, SVM, KNN, and CNN ReLU, then Leaky ReLU, then SVM, and so on till I have gone till the DenseNet, deep neural network DenseNet, and I identified that DenseNet is performing better when compared to other models which have experimented. And I've also done a second part of research for refining. If you remember, my proposed system have refined the model by using incremental learning or adaptive learning, wherein the model has the capability to adapt to new data by using a incremental learning method, wherein we can keep this for more viability. And I have used a URL called as PhilUCL phishing URL dataset, which contains 1,34,850 estimate and 1,945 phishing website addresses. Again, this is composed of recent URLs derived from both web sources and other URL structures. And I have taken the attributes such as character continuation rate, URL consistency, character probability, and top-level domain legitimacy for identifying the dataset utility for phishing detection. And I've done pre-processing, normalization, splitting as I've done for the previous dataset. And I have used GAN for generating synthetic data. Again, since I identified DenseNet as a better model, I implemented this as a base model, and since it was a best performing model earlier case, and I've trained using the original dataset, and I've recorded the performance, and I also have done different epochs 30, 60, 80, and 90, and standardization done for both datasets to ensure numerical consistency. I've also done incremental model for enhanced model learning capacity. Training datasets comprise of both original and synthetic data, and we have combined the dataset while implementing with the adaptive learning scheduler to facilitate knowledge transfer. And this is the analysis I've done with the DenseNet model metrics, wherein we have an
Sorry to
accuracy
interrupt,
of,
sir. You
yeah.
have 2 minutes left. Please conclude your presentation.
Yeah.
So you have
Minutes
2
left.
minutes left.
Yeah.
Please conclude your presentation.
Yes, madam.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yeah. We have training set up to accuracy of 0.99, and the test set also has an accuracy of 0.99. And I have found out DenseNet model metrics for generated data set, where an accuracy is of 0.97 for GAN generated data. And when you combine the different accuracy models, we can again see a performance of 0.9 accuracy. So to conclude, I have explored different machine learning classification algorithm for phishing detection, and I have found out that the DenseNet performs better when compared to other models. And I have also used incremental learning techniques to adapt myself for phishing URLs and legitimate URLs. And also I identified new phishing URLs, and which is the adaptability of the model. And incremental learning reduced the overhead of updating the model with new data. And we have shown that integrating incremental learning to proposed system can make a model robust to changes in URL system without losing in initial learnings. The references I have referred, and thank you for listening. Over to questions.
Hello, sir.
Yes, madam.
Okay, you have given a comparative analysis on DenseNet and ResNet, right?
Yes, yes, madam.
Are there any other models that you studied for while developing this model of yours?
I have referred, if you see the table, I have referred from starting from ISBM, CNN. I have studied about the other neural network models, and I have also seen graph neural networks.
Okay, so how did you feel that ResNet is going to give you the best results?
So that came through a data analysis. I did the model prediction using different ML models and found out that they have low accuracy. So I have tried with a trial and error method. I have referred multiple models, and finally, when I found out that deep learning methods perform better than the other neural network models, then I went to ResNet. So this made me understand that ResNet performs better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation, sir. Now moving on to the next one.
Thank you, madam.
We have Peter Sabef with the paper title Anti-Patterns for Local Data Protection in Highly Secure Software. So Peter, you may start with your presentation.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you. I'll share my screen. Did you see the presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Hello, my name is Peter Sobev, and today I'll present my work that's anti-patterns for local data protection in highly secure software. First, I'll start with introduction and we'll answer the question, what is highly secure software? This is a security reliable software that is built upon a strong security architecture, ensuring a much higher level of security compared to a general purpose software. What does mean? That means that such software typically have much more security requirements that should be met, And one very important thing is to be designed to fully protect itself and the data it operates with, ensuring comprehensive security measures are in place to prevent unauthorized access and data breaches. That is typically implemented through efficient security mechanisms based on strong defense technique. And here it is important to note that such software is expected to be reliable even in exceptional situations like malicious behavior, incidents, errors, or some other behavior that is not expected. What is the motivation behind the current work? First, identifying security failures. A number of widely accepted security recommendations and guidelines for building secure software already exist, but they are not always implemented correctly. My previous work has provided a proof of concept showing how the security of specific highly secure software can be breached by a potential attacker through the identification and exploitation of certain design and implementation mistakes. And this is a natural continuation of the previous work that tries to describe and document the main design and implementation mistakes that were identified as part of my previous work. The goal here is to help software engineers and developers in general to understand and avoid common security critical errors by defining anti-patterns for local data protection. For this goal, I will start with a brief overview of background on the topic. First, I will say something about what exactly patterns and anti-patterns are. These are concepts that are very well known, but I will outline them shortly. Pattern, this is a core solution to a recurring problem, which is proven to be an effective technique for improving the quality and comprehension of complex software design. Anti-pattern is simply the opposite of the term pattern. It is a solution that initially appears to be effective, but is later proven to be inadequate or wrong from security standpoint, and typically that results in little or no security at all. What is local data protection? Local data protection involves ensuring the security of data stored on device where the software is running. And this includes all security measures taken by the software locally in order to protect its most valuable asset, that is user data. Importance here is protecting sensitive data from unauthorized access, and this is typically related to the main information security attributes that are confidentiality, authenticity, and integrity of the local data. And this involves applying typically cryptographic operations and methods in order to protect the data. What are the challenges in local data protection? First, choosing appropriate approaches to implement main memory security, and second, data storage security. In general, the approach to protect local data can be divided into these two groups, and the data storage security itself can be further divided into approaches to implement application level data security and in approach to implement database level data storage security. The main difference is here that in the first approach, the application itself is responsible to ensure the security measures to protect this data. And in the second approach, typically this responsibility is delegated to a database that is responsible to all security related aspects for protecting the data. Something other that is important to note is that there are also some common mistakes in implementing secure storage, encryption, and key management. And in my paper, I provided overview of some such mistakes. I will not go through details now. We'll back to this later when I'm discussing the anti-patterns. Before starting discussion of the anti-patterns, I will explain the generic template for defining the anti-patterns. It was used to document the 4 anti-patterns that were identified as part of my previous work. On this figure, it is shown. It consists of 7 parts. First part is the name of the anti-pattern. It consists of 2 parts, anti-pattern ID. It should serve as a unique identifier for the anti-pattern, and followed by anti-pattern title, that is some human readable name that easily identifies the anti-pattern. Next, it contains a section that is explaining recurrent security problem requiring a solution. Here in brief, each problem from security standpoint that should be solved is described and provides explanation why this problem is actual to the given software. The next section includes a common solution resulting in little to no security. This is a well-known security that is common and typically applied, but although this solution at first look tends to be reliable and effective, later it is proven that this solution is not actually reliable and results in little or no security at all. The next section includes detection of the anti-pattern presence that helps a potential attacker to neutralize the user-entered data entrusted to the application protection, or at least to weaken it. This section typically provides information. Sorry, is there a question? Or? Okay, I'll continue. The next section here is why this anti-pattern should be considered as a bad or completely wrong solution in terms of security. Here, the documented anti-pattern explains why this solution actually does not work and results in no security at all. This section is typically followed by a typical combination with anti-pattern because it is common to have one or more anti-patterns combined together, making the software engineer applying them to think that when they are combined, they provide better security and they solve the problems that actually leads to. The last section consists of explanation that provides real-world examples showing real-world software where the anti-pattern is identified and what consequences from a security standpoint for the user data it has. I'll start with the first anti-pattern that was identified. That was security through obscurity as a main method of providing data security. Here, the recurring security problem requiring a solution is that it is typically necessary to ensure adequate data protection for all data that needs to be processed or stored related to a specific software functionality. This can be, for example, a vault application where the user needs to store its bank card number or image of its bank card, and it should be stored securely by the software, and the implementer of the vault application needs a solution for this. The next section, that is common solution resulting in little to no security. Here, typical solution is based on developers' belief that keeping implementation details such as source code, algorithms, or system architecture secret is sufficient to ensure strong data protection, but without implementing robust, well-established security standards, principles, and approaches, such as, for example, strong randomized authenticating encryption, secure coding practices, throat testing, and so on. Next, the detection of this anti-pattern presets helps a potential attacker to neutralize user-entered data entrusted to the application protection, or at least weaken it. Here, the impact is directly because typically this anti-pattern is used to protect the data itself, and it is not, for example, used to protect something other like security settings or some other aspect of the application that indirectly can affect the security of the data that is protected by the application.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Can you please conclude your presentation?
Sorry, can you repeat? I don't hear.
Yeah, as you have 2 minutes left, can you please conclude your presentation?
Oh, sorry. I'll continue faster.
Sure.
Okay. In short, here is provided the main motivation why this solution is better in terms of security. It is easy to break. Attackers with sufficient motivation often use reverse engineering tools, and this can help them to review the implementation secrets. Lack for robustness, when the secrecy is comprised, the whole security model built on it fails. False sense of security. I've talked about this and skip it because of the time. No defense in depth. Typically, the adequate security model requires a strong defense in depth strategy, but this is against this principle. Maintenance challenges. Typically, when the software is large, especially enterprise software, with the growth source code, it is typically becomes more and more hard to keep the implementations really secret. And lastly, non-compliance with security standards. Typical security standards forbid using this security principle. Next, I show here an example of attack that was real world example for this anti-pattern. This is Keeper software, and here it is applied for securing the bank card reading operation. On this picture, you can see that the bank card was successfully recovered, and this is the algorithm used for the bank card recovery. I can explain it later in questions, but we'll skip because of the time pressure. Next, the second anti-pattern is security throat delegation. It is very similar to the first, but here the main difference is that typically the implementer is relying on not on an implementation secret, but on an external entity that can be an operating system or something other. For general purpose software, this can be good, but for highly secure software, this is not acceptable because this anti-pattern makes it at least no more secure than a general purpose application. Also, if there is a weakness in the third-party entity, again, we have the same issue. Here I use the same example, but from a perspective of the storage location. Here is the algorithm, and here the implementer relies on the Android application sandbox in this concrete example. But this, as can see, there is another way to bypass it, and it is shown in the picture here. Now continue with the third anti-pattern, that is security through delegation as a main method of providing settings security. Here it's very similar to the second, but it affects the security settings. It is implemented typically by the security settings functionality provided by the operating system that also can be bypassed and reverse engineered easily. Here I'm providing an example, again with Keeper, where the screenshot protection security feature that prevents third-party application like malware or something other to make screenshots of the protected data. For example, here user credentials, and as you can see on the picture, the credentials were successfully stolen because even the attacker does not know master password
Excuse
of
me,
the. Yes, sorry.
Peter.
Just few
Please
words
try
for.
to wind up.
Yes, I'm finishing.
You come to
The,
a conclusion slide, please.
okay. In conclusion, sorry, presentation. Okay, in conclusion, the purpose of the article was to serve as educational documentation in order to make possible to be avoided this implementation and design mistakes that were identified, and also to open a field for researching new approaches for better security. And my next paper that we'll present tomorrow suggest a security strategy that addresses some of the vulnerabilities and weak design and implementations solutions that were identified. And thank you for your attention. I'm open to questions.
So, Peter, is this research a part of some project?
Yes, it is part of the scientific project I'm currently working, where we have a task to make a security research related to the security of existing password managers and vault application, and to identify is there a need to develop a new approach and a new such software. And this is a natural continuation of this work.
Okay. And it's complete, right?
Yes.
So where are you exactly implementing it?
The new implementation is in early prototype phase. And in my next paper tomorrow, I will present the prototype and some aspects from security standpoint that are related to the implementation and design mistakes that were identified, and how the new solution addresses them.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving forward to the next one, we have Asha M. with the paper title Energy Efficiency Analysis in Network on Chips Transceivers with Adaptive Methods. Ma'am Asha, you may start with your
Yes, ma'am.
presentation.
Yes, ma'am. I am here. I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm sharing the screen. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Can you able to see my screen, ma'am?
Yes, it's visible.
Is it visible, right? So good afternoon, everybody. I am Asha. I am working as an assistant professor in GSSS IITW, Mysore, India. Today I am going to present my work on energy efficiency analysis in network on-chip transceivers with adaptive methods. These are the contents of my presentation. Firstly, when it comes to the network on chip, that is here we are analyzing the energy efficiency in the network on chip transceivers with adaptive methods. Transceivers are nothing but transmitter and receiver. If you take any communication system, the three main pillars of the communication systems are the transmitter, receiver, and the channel. So, firstly, we'll be using the adaptive methods in order to measure the performance analysis in the network on chip. So the objective of the work is to by addressing the challenges of traditional wired communications and exploring adaptive digital
Ma'am, your
transceivers.
slides are not moving, Asha.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So coming to the introduction, network on chip, it is a communication subsystem on an integrated circuit which is designed to facilitate efficient data transfer between different cores or components of a system on chip. So here the network on chip, it is used in many industries such as multimedia, communications, and real-time simulation. Here our main focus is to enhance the performance of the network on chip using the transceiver models, okay, with respect to the efficiency, scalability, and the data transmission part. So here, in order to increase the efficiency of our system, we'll be using the modulation and demodulation technique at the transmitter and receiver respectively. Along with that, if we use that, we can achieve the more data transmission rate so that we can, if we recover the signal at the receiver side, we can recover the signal at the receiver side with the less noise and less interference. So along with that modulation and demodulation technique at the transmitter and receiver, we also use some of the encoding technique in order to meet the criteria for fast data rate while using the minimum amount of power, minimum amount of requirement of the power consumption. So in the network operation center communication. So while achieving the data transmission rate, higher data transmission rate or high data throughput, so we have to maintain we have to get a low bit error rate. Okay, for that we'll be using the modulation techniques for our NOC, that is network on chip communication. So what are all the techniques we have used in order to improve the network on chip performance? First and foremost thing was algorithms and the architecture models. Many researchers have proposed the algorithms as well as architecture models in order to improve or enhance the efficiency, throughput, latency, complexity, as well as scalability. And some of the researchers, they have used the sensing amplifiers. These sensing amplifiers can be an inbuilt or an external sensing amplifiers, which can boost the performance of the network on chip. So, for example, if we use the voltage sensing amplifier, for the 90 nanometer CMOS, that is complementary metal oxide semiconductor circuit, we can achieve a better performance with respect to the power consumption, that is reduction in the power consumption. Okay, and also in order to increase the speed of the data transmission with the reduction in the power consumption, we can also use the transmitter along with the pre-emphasis capacitance. So these are the different techniques which were used by many researchers. So coming to the recent advances in the wireless network on chip. So first paper is that is literature number 13, they have mitigated the downed wireless connection. That is, if the network on chip connection which use the wired connectivity. So what is happening here they have utilized the advanced network-based designs as well as adaptive routing technology, which provide that is the first the literature survey. The second literature survey, it is based on the work, that is hierarchical configured fault tolerant hybrid wireless network on chip. The paper is paper number 11, which is mentioned in our references. They have employed a two-dimensional mesh design, and that is partitioned into clusters. They have partitioned into the groups or cluster, and a subnet of the nodes is chosen to become a part of the cluster head based on the energy available in a particular node. So that is referred as cluster head, which is responsible for the long distance communication. And also in this event, if any one of the channel cannot be used for the long distance communication, the alternative channel can be utilized for the communication purpose. So, and if we don't want the long distance communication, if we simply want the short distance communication, then we can make use of the wired NOC technology. And the third work is presented by the author, referred as the 7th number. They have mentioned the node disjoint communication topologies. They have addressed the persistent failures in the wireless routers. When there is the type of topology they have used is hybrid. Hybrid is a combination of many basic topologies like ring and mesh, or mesh and bus, and so on. So the fourth literature survey, it is based on the wireless network on chip architecture as well as routing technique. Here they have proposed a new wireless network architecture with routing for intermittent and persistent defects. That means if there is any any failure in the network or any failure in the node, so we can take the other neighboring node for the data communication. And also it uses a two-dimensional mesh partition into subnet with 16 nodes each. That is, each of the mesh network will have they had 16 nodes, which is referred as one subnet. And also they have implemented a routing through nearby hubs when a wireless hub fails. That is the alternative method in order to transmit the data using routing technique. And also they have introduced a look ahead derouter based routing to handle the connection failure. That is, when there is a failure in the connection, they have to, that is, the data has to be transmitted with the other path. So what are all the from these 4 papers, what are all the shortcomings we have identified as? Our first one is congestion issue. So this is the potential network congestion due to the rerouting traffic to alternative wireless interfaces, that is wireless interfaces, which is mentioned in the paper number 7, 8, and 11. And also there is another shortcoming from the literature review, that is insufficient focus on fault detection. If we do not, if we not able to detect the fault, then it is our data communication will not be a proper one. So for that, we have to focus on the data fault detection, okay, and also medium access control protocol implication, which is identified in the paper 7, 8, 11, and 12. Lastly, the absence of error detection system. So there is no existing system for comprehensive error detection techniques. Okay, so these are the some research gap in the wireless network on chip. So in order to address these problems in the wireless network on chip, we have to make use of the wireless transceivers and routing techniques that are based on detour. In addition, we have to provide a fault detection and mitigation services as well as MAC protocol reconfiguration in order to ensure that the wireless NOC continues to operate effectively even in the in the presence of the problems or the problems. Okay, so what is my proposed solution? First thing is we have to develop a implement a wireless transceivers, that is backup wireless transceivers where which use a backup transceivers and detour based routing techniques. Second thing is fault detection and mitigation, which implements a fault detection mitigation services and macro
Sorry to
at
interrupt,
the
ma'am.
very
You have 2 minutes left. Please conclude
Okay,
your
fine. Okay, fine.
session.
Okay, and also it ensures effective operation of wireless network network on chip despite encountered issues. So this is the architecture of the enhanced digital domain transceiver architecture in the wireless network architecture. So here we have got three different things. First and foremost thing is ADC. ADC is nothing but analog to digital converter. It is used to implement the channel correction method. Okay, and also it is going to support multiple channel access, and it uses one of the technique in the ADC, that is successive approximation register. It is capable of handling 10 GSA per second, and it provides 1.25 gigahertz data rate with 8 consecutive samples or 4-bit words. Okay, then the second important thing is you can see the transmitter and receiver part. Okay, and also the between that we have got RF, that is the communication channel. So first thing is adaptive wireless access. So this adaptive wireless access, as the name indicates, the adaptability can be done with respect to the number of channel selection. Here you can see the router is going to operate at a frequency of 1.25 gigahertz, and it can transmit the signal 1 bit at a time or 32 bit at a time, or 1 bit as well as 32 bit at a time. So the controller which is going to select when there is a processing of the 32-bit data. So here we have got the output of the router is connected to, it is given to SER, so which is operated as, which is acting as a multiplexer here. So it is 32-bit into 1 or 32-bit to 32-bit is to 8. That is, and also the data will be given to, one output will be given to DSS encoder, and it will be given to the SCR with data rate of 10 Gbps. Okay, so and also we have got the receiver section. Receiver section will have two different techniques. One is DFE, decision feedback equalization, and time domain sampling. So we have done the comparative analysis based on these two techniques. And at the receiver, we have got, at the transmitter will be having multiplexer, and also we have got SCR. At the receiver side, we have got DSCR as well as multiplexer. So, and it is going to process either 1 bit of data, 8 bit of data, or 32 bit of data. So the result, we have set up the system and model. Here we have used MATLAB model, and here we have used 4 wireless interfaces and communication mode using off duplex mode. That is, we can operate the communication either in off duplex or full duplex mode. Here off duplex mode, and with 4 bases, and as 4 because n is nothing but a cluster. Okay, and this cluster should be situated in a cluster's epicenter, and if n number is increased, so automatically the operation will continue within the same premises. And also it is going to support both single communication as well as parallel communication. And we have used the channelization method. Here we have used orthogonal Adamar ports on 8 bits used for parallel channel, and it is going to support up to 7 channels. So here the channel we have taken is additive white Gaussian channel, and the type of the channel is time invariant, two-ray time invariant frequency selective channel with additive white Gaussian noise. And receiver side, we have used the ADC, analog to digital converter. It does the quantization process, and it is going to convert our analog signal into digital signal. And the simulation method we have used is Monte Carlo simulation with the 95% confident interval for PER estimation. So here we have used the adaptive modulation technique, that that is on-off keying technique. It is one of the coherent detection technique. Okay, so here we have made the comparison between OOK without multipath channel and with multipath channel, and we got the better effect, better output for the OOK with multipath channel compared to without multipath channel. And also at the receiver side, we have used two compensation strategies. One is decision feedback equalization and time domain sampling. So, and we have done the simulation for the SNR of 15 dB. Both strategies have achieved a bit error rate of 10⁻⁻⁷, which is similar to our theoretical limit. And each one of the compensation strategy is of both advantages and so wireless network on chip using the OOK method and compensation strategies. We have come to know that we have come to an end that TDS, time division sampling, it divides the data rate by code size, and it lowers the data rate compared to DFE. And coming to the DFE,
Sorry
it
to
also
interrupt, ma'am. We have already crossed your time limit. Can you please conclude the presentation now?
okay, fine. So this
Yeah.
is our simulation result, where we have done the serial data communication as well as parallel communication, serial communication with DFP, serial communication with TDS, two parallel channel with TDS, three parallel channel with TDS, along with OOK theory and OOK practical. So this is our simulated result, and from the simulated result, we have got the result for bandwidth per core, latency, and packet energy. So this is wired mesh. We have considered the topology as wired mesh, then Wi-Fi number with 4 Wi-Fis, that is wireless interfaces, external DOs, and wireless NOC with internal DOs. So conclusion. We have proposed a digital transceivers which uses channel compensation technique for both serial and parallel channel access. And technique we have used is on-off keying in transmitting across channels with high dispersion significantly enhances reliability. And we have the proposed digital transceiver features a low wireless interface overhead meters than one close to. Any doubts? Any questions? Hello?
Okay, that's an interesting presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes, ma'am.
you said that using adaptive methods.
Yes.
So can you just throw a little light on adaptive methods and what are other methods that are available?
Since it is wireless network on chip, ma'am, so yeah, the work is going on. So it is basically OOK with hybrid modulation technique we can use. That is OOK means on-off keying technique. It is the basic modulation technique. With that, we can go with the other modulation technique in order to implement the wireless network on chip, ma'am.
Other than adaptive methods, are there any other category of methods?
No, ma'am, no. Only one thing we have.
No, you have used, but are there other methodologies available?
I'm not sure, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. Have you implemented the chipset?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You have implemented the chipset.
Yes.
Have you proposed your solution to some company so that they can utilize it and for
No,
developing
ma'am.
their chipsets?
No, no. It is my research work, so we have not done it, ma'am. Sorry.
So what are your future plans then?
I want to implement whatever you said. That is, we have to further continue the what is that work using the other different modulation techniques along with the encoding techniques. Here we have used Adamard encoding technique. So apart from the Adamard, other what is that encoding technique that can be you can perform reduction in the
That is
that is
fine, but if you are developing a good product, I
we are
think you should
concentrating.
try
So that is
to
the next goal.
convert it into maybe a product that can be used by some company for the benefit of the society, isn't it?
Yes, 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 ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. So I wish you all the best. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving forward to the next one, we have Brijesh Bhatt with the paper title, Two Unidirection LSTMs Based Captioning Module for Dense Video Captioning. So you can
Okay.
start your presentation. Yeah.
Okay, let me just share my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Is my screen is visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brijesh Bhatt. I am pursuing my PhD in the area of the dense video captioning. Today, we are going to propose the one of the unique model of our in the area of the dense video captioning. So let's start. So this is basically the outline of my presentation. I will first of all giving the introduction regarding the what is the video captioning and how it is means dense video captioning and how it is different than the traditional video captioning. Then I will just present the literature survey, proposed model, then the implementation and result, conclusion, and the future goals. So whenever we are talking about the any particular video in the real world, we know that the video is the basically the a collection of the events, right? These events can be occur sequentially or simultaneously. So now, what is the problem? That when we want to extract the any data from the video, something like if I want to get the some kind of the knowledge from the video, it is basically the time consuming task and means labor expensive component. Why I'm saying this? Because as we know that this is the area, this is the basically the era of the social media, and there are tons of video are going to be uploaded on the social media every minute or every seconds. Now just imagine that there are videos of the educational video on the YouTube. There will be the 1 hour of video, 2 hour of video, 3 hour of videos. Even suppose if we are going to talk about the surveillance video where the continuously feeding is coming over there, to summarize those particular videos are really difficult tasks. So there are two ways to just summarize this particular stuff. That is a visual summary and the textual summary. Visual summary, we can just say that if we are going to identify the some of the key frames from the video and create the new clips from that particular video, it is called the visual summary. So that is basically the highlight of the any sports events or the recap of any television show. That is called the visual summary. But our focus is basically on the textual summary. Textual summary means what? We are going to describe the video in the some text format. So that is called the textual summary. Now we are talking about that. Okay, so what is the video captioning? Video captioning is basically the when the input will be video, the output will be the description about that particular video. This description can contain the one sentence, multiple sentence. It can have a one particular paragraph, and all of them depends based on the size of the video, that how many information we can just extract it from the video. So that is basically the traditional model. Now, how it is different than the dense video captioning? In the dense video captioning, what is going to happen? In the traditional video captioning, what is going to happen? That whenever we are having the events which is occurs simultaneously, means the overlapping of the events. So traditional video captioning are failed to extract those overlapping events, Secondly, they are failed to just describe those particular overlapping image. To overcome this particular issue, the dense video captioning will come into the picture. Now, how it will be the beneficial? So dense video captioning will have two modules. One is the event proposal module. Second one is the captioning module. Event proposal module is going to identify the events from the entire video. Either those are sequential event or overlapping event. Does not matter. All the events will be extracted, and from those, all the events will be passed to the captioning module. Now, the task of the captioning module is to generate the captions for, or we can just say that describe that particular events. And after those captioning module is completed, we are just going to aggregate those sentences and create the single one paragraph, which is going to describe the entire video. Secondly, the most important stuff, that is whenever we are talking about the real world video, where the video size is more than 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or even more than that. So traditional video captioning model is failed because they are not able to cope up with the particular components. So to overcome those particular stuff, the dense video captioning can be helpful. Why? Because dense video captioning already divide the video into the multiple clips, right? And those clips, basically only those means those clips, we can just say that, which is having the some kind of the event or the activity. So over here, if we are going to talk about the application, practical application of the dense video captioning, so log generation of the end surveillance video, it can be helpful to just identify the video segment localization based on the query. That is the second point, right? If we are going to make the sum of the log of the video, and then we want to just extract the specific video clip, we can directly use this particular description component. Even the visual assistant for the visually impaired individuals. That is basically our long-term goal, that we want to just create the something, some glasses or some any particular instrument. From that, the visually impaired person can get the better idea that what is surrounding them. And the last thing, that is the instruction video generation. That is something like lots of, means many of the times we are struggling that, okay, my car tire is punctured, but how to just basically change the car tire. So description will be going to be generated in such a way that it will just guide the particular human being that, okay, this is the way you should go ahead and you can just change the tire. This is the one of the example. Instruction video can be made for any particular videos where the events are the sequentially. So this is basically the literature survey. We have gone through the means first paper of the dense video captioning was published in 2018 CVPR itself. And from that onwards, there are several versions of the dense video captioning, or we can just say the improvement in the dense video captioning was occur. So, but over here, the thing is majority of them are using the C3D. Now, what is the C3D? C3D is nothing but the convolution 3D components. We all know that the convolution is basically a convolution model is going to extract the spatial information, but convolution 3D is going to add the extra means layer. I can just say that the dimension, not the layer, the dimension, that is basically the temporal dimension. So C3D model is able to extract the spatial temporal features from the entire video. Now to extract those particular features, we need to send the set of the frames from the video to the CNN model, right? And this is for our experiment, and even for the universal, they are using the delta value, that is the 16, means the 16 frame will be goes into the model at a time and going to generate the some spatial features, partial temporal features. And this temporal dependency will be carried forward to all the convolution layers. And later on, there will be the fully connected neural network and those kind of the stuff. So you can just see that the CNN models, most of them are using the convolution 3D. Some of them are using the TCN. That is the TCN is the nothing but the temporal convolution neural network. It is exactly the same, but little bit in different terminology. And some in the modern era of the transformer, some of them are tried with the transformer stuff. But the problem with the transformer is it requires a huge amount of the computational power, because when you are talking about the transformer in the this particular proposal module, you need to use the transformer in the captioning module as well. And in between somewhere around, you also want to use the transformer to do this smooth conversion between the visual features to the basically the textual features. So, and the most of them are using the captioning module as a LSTM or the transformer. But the basic problem was that majority of the people put their efforts to just fine tune the localized model. That means they are putting their efforts to identify the events, exact event from that particular one frame to the another frame. Means whenever we are talking about the localization model, it is going to perform the two tasks. One is the identification of the activity that is going to be possible with the simple binary classification model. And second one, that is the localization. Localization in terms of what? It is going to identify the time frame that, okay, one activity one is starting from 5 minutes and 10 seconds, and it will be completed by 5 minutes and 20 seconds, like that one. So localization model itself is going to perform the two tasks. So you can just see that this is basically the bundle of n number of neural networks. We can just say that deep learning models. And that's why the many of the people, means very few people, is able to generate the pipeline, which is in the end-to-end transformer based pipeline. So now the major, as I already said, that this is basically the motivation that no one has put so many efforts on the captioning module, and that's why we have just proposed the one of the component. So let's come to this particular slide to get the better idea. So on the left hand side, you can just see that these are the visual features, C3D features, right? And over here you can find out the small annotation was M and N. What is the meaning of M? This is the starting of the event, and N is the ending of the event time. This is basically the event timestamp, right? So these are all the features. We are going to use the bidirectional LSTM in the first stage to just extract the features. These features will tell us that, okay, the event is continuous in the subframe. Something like I already told that we are going to use the 16 frame at a time to generate the visual features. But what will happen that suppose my video is having the 32 frame per second. Let's take the example. I know this is not the practical one, but still that my frame rate is 32. So 16 frame, first 16 frame will create the first feature. Second 16 frame will create the second features. Now we need to identify that either activity is continue in the means all the 32 frames or not. For that, we are going to use the somewhere around the LSTM, which will aggregate the data of all the features component. So why we are using the bidirectional? So we will get the idea of the contextual information that, okay, forward direction, these are the features are important. For the backward direction, both means these are the features are important. To identify or to contextually contextually correctly describe the particular current timestamp event, it depend on the previous timestamp depend as well as the future timestamp dependent events as well. So whatever the model we are just proposing over here, we are just using the bidirectional LSTM to get the feature representation of the event from both the direction, forward as well as the backward. So once the output of the this particular forward sequence encoder and the backward sequence encoder will be the hidden representation, as we already know that from the LSTM we will get some kind of the hidden representation that is in the sequential process. Then
sorry to interrupt. You have 2 minutes left. Please conclude your presentation.
Yeah. So basically, it's the proposal model. What it will do? It will do the binary classification, and instead of passing this particular feature vector, that is the HM and HN, directly into the captioning module, what we have done, we have identify the C3D original visual features and then aggregate those features using the attention model and then feed into the captioning part. Now over here in the captioning, again we are doing the two unidirection. We have not used the bi LSTM over here. Again, I am just verifying. This is a two unidirection, means totally different LSTM bunch of layers, which is going to process the data in the forward as well as in the backward direction. Based on that, we are getting the two caption. One is forward direction. Second one is the in reverse direction. So far, we are working on that particular part, that which captioning module we should use and we should not, means which particular caption we should use. So that is right now we are creating the two captions, and selection of the caption is based on the ground truth. Directly, we are just comparing with their parameters. And these are the basically the some means mathematical representation of our model, that how we have aggregated those features. These are the loss components, that is that we have used the cross attention components and all those kind of the stuff. Yeah, we are using the ActivityNet captioning dataset. This is the only one dataset for the dance video captioning, because for the dance video captioning, your dataset should contain the time boundary of the each and every events. And for the evaluation measures, we are using the Blue score, Meteor score, Rod score, CIDER, and this is basically our results. So we are currently it means getting the good result with the Meteor score basically. And our focus is to improve this particular result, that is the CIDER. Why CIDER? Because CIDER is the basically the measures which is directly associated with the our visual components. So visual and then caption. If both the components are mapped with each other, automatically CIDER components will be increased. So that is basically our agenda. And we are already getting the 9% better improvement in the Meteor score compared to the our whatever the base paper we have just selected, and even it has overpassed all the transformer based model. So that is basically the good thing. Now the future work, we are just going to focus on the refining the caption selection modules, right? We are having right now the 2 captions, couple of methods we know that is basically the LLM can help us, or some entropy based word selection methodology can be help us to just select the best caption. And again, if time will permit us, then we are going to work means improve the proposal module with the transformer base, means the visual transformer kind of the stuff. So these are the 2 things which can be the work as a future work. And that's it from my side. Any question from your side?
It's an interesting research work,
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
and you presented it very well.
Thank
Tell
you.
me one thing, what are the challenges that you faced while doing this work?
The first challenge was basically this is the 2018-2019 paper, right? But CVTR paper, you can just find out their GitHub repo. But those repo are developed in the transformer 0.1 or something like that one. To convert those things, it was really difficult to just replicate the exact amount of results which is mentioned in the base paper. That was another challenge. Third most important challenge, which is means we think that we are just going to face, is how this bundle of deep learning models are going to be run on the some product which we are planning to develop that can be helped visually impaired person, because I think we require some computational power. And if we are going to talk about the chipset, we do not have that much chipset which can run the bunch of deep learning models simultaneously at the same time. So that is the biggest challenge for us as of right now.
So my question is, why do you intend to run the entire bundle of deep learning models?
Because ma'am, whenever we are getting the some information, something like suppose we are having the one camera which is fixed on somewhere surveillance particular unit. So it will continuously getting the some kind of the input. So when the input will come, again we are going to pass that particular input to the deep learning models, and our at least 2 deep learning models will be work simultaneously. One is the proposal model, and then after the captioning model. Suppose if we are just going to live with the LSTM and adopt the transformer based model, then computational power will be, means more and more computational power will require. So I don't know that how we are going to deal with
I
that.
think you should do a comparative analysis on the deep learning models and then decide upon the deep learning model that you want to maybe implement for your model. Firstly, have you ever thought about the energy efficiency considerations while developing this model?
Yeah, that is basically our main component, because computationally intensive means it is going to take the lots and lots of energy, right? So we cannot put it somewhere around on the remote location. So that is basically means we are planning to consider it into the next phase of our research.
Do you have this idea that running a lot of deep learning models also cost upon energy?
Sorry.
Do you have this idea that running a lot of deep learning models, right,
Mhm.
like a bundle of deep learning, they also result in energy efficiency considerations?
Somewhat
They
means
consume a
we
lot
can
because
just
every deep learning model consume a lot of energy, isn't it?
not, but if it is visually means if the visuals are there, then it will take the huge amount of energy. If the textual data, I
Even
don't think so
textual
that.
does. Just search for the papers and check it out. Every
Okay.
deep learning model, when you are training it, it consumes a lot of energy because we are just working on basically increasing or improving the accuracy, isn't it?
Yes.
So when we talk about heading towards greener society, if this
Mhm.
model is not energy efficient, then there is no usage of your model, right?
But ma'am,
So,
nowadays the quantization and all those techniques can reduce the model size, and maybe it is taking the less
sir,
computational power.
it is not taking less computational power. Just read papers related to that. I have a
Okay.
fair idea about that things, right?
Okay.
So
Sure,
please
ma'am.
give it a thought because you are developing something which is application based, right? And we
Correct.
can implement it later. You can sell it to some industry or whatever. So in that
Yes.
case, if it is not energy efficient, they won't never take your product, right? So that is one of
Right,
the
ma'am.
major factors while developing such models.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Moving to the last presentation of the session, I'd like to call Dr. Amit Sharma, the co-author of the paper. He's going to present now, and the paper title is A Clustering Ensemble Approach to Improving Text Classification, Adding Anti-Dictionary. So you may start your presentation now.
Yes, I share my screen.
Yeah, sure. And just a request to please adhere to the time limits and complete your presentation within the 12 minutes of time slot.
It is my suggestion that please do not put more focus on literature review. You should
Okay.
just try to put in more focus on your own work.
Okay. Yes, yeah, screen is show visible. Hello.
Yes, it's visible.
I
Please go
start
ahead.
my yes. Okay. My paper ID is 349. Myself, Dr. Amit Sharma. I research guide T2 Aurora, T2 Singh Aurora, and research paper title is A Clustering and Sampling Approach to Improve Text Classification. And this is the outline of research paper: introduction, text data pre-processing, literature review, data modeling, challenging in current approach, proposed algorithm, performance metrics, result, and conclusion. This is the introductory part, is the text data pre-processing. In the terms of frequency inverse document frequency, TF-IDF, this is the algorithm which is provide the vectorization and the multiple kinds of text, like as a news, like as a letter, like as a any kinds of story, paper, you know, in the word. And agglomeratic clustering is applied on the base of these vectors divided into data into the two new cluster. This is the method for starting treating each data points in separate cluster. And last one is the feature extraction. This is the process to converting the unstructured text in a structured format. So we utilize the TF-IDF global vector for word replacing. This is the literature review. On the basis of literature review, I find some issues, and regarding some issues, I prepare this research paper. So, firstly, I start the data modeling. This is the trend training model. The training model is trained using both the modified and basic database alternative. This involve feed the model with the data, allowing it the learn pattern in the relationship between the feature and target variable, and evaluate performance. The accuracy score are the compared between the two data set, the multi and classifier utilizing and TF-IDF stream products and based result accuracy, precision, and one score. And ensembling learning techniques such as the random forest are used to improve the math module accuracy by the combining multiple decision tree. This is the approach by using a reduce overfitting and improve the generation. Challenging in current approach, the loss of context and the lack of contextual and need of conceptual measure. Proposed algorithm in the text classification-based pre-processing is streaming. The text stream is mapped to tokenization system and the process of reducing word to their root from the removing the suffixing prefixing. And TF-IDF vectorization is the text crop and convert into the vector using TF-IDF. This technique is assigned to read to each word based on the frequency in the document and the corpus. And the hierarchical cluster is text are grouped into the two groups using the hierarchical cluster method. This is the technique to build the hierarchical of cluster by the iteratively merged by the splitting cluster based on their similarity. The feature addition, the new cluster and text vectorization are added a feature to data. This is the enriching data with the contextual of information that can improve the performance matrix. We have to use three model: the base model and cluster feature model and anti-dictionary. The anti-dictionary concept is proposed by me in my research. So the accuracy of anti-cluster dictionary is more than for base and cluster feature model. So this is defined by the table, and we look at the test accuracy is 0.86, and the base model and cluster model is 0.87. In anti-dictionary, when we add the anti-dictionary, it will be the result improve by the 0.97%. So this is the like is 100% result. The final the result and discussion part. The base model is again represent the all features and clustering features and anti-dictionary features are shown in the previous graph. The conclusion in this research aim to improve text classification method using the text clustering and anti-dictionary feature. This novel approach in the text pre-processing step and significantly improve data quality and provide improved result. The proposed methodology and demonstrate the potential and advancing text classification task through the innovation feature engineering techniques. So thank you.
Okay, so with that, we have come to an end of the session, and I sincerely thank all the authors for their presentation and contribution in this session. And on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it was a great session. Yeah, I hope this session was informative enough also, and all the presenters would be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. And further, all the papers have already forwarded to the Springer. So the publication will be live within 6 months. So kindly cooperate with the team of ISBM 2024. I would also like to thank our session chair. And here is a small token of appreciation on behalf of the team. Thank you so much, Anubha ma'am, for chairing the session. Would you like to give a closing remarks to all the participants?
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Everybody is doing a wonderful research work. I wish them all the best. And I also thank GI Foundation for providing a lovely platform to each of the researchers by hosting all such conferences where we can meet and exchange research ideas. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I just request you all to please switch on your cameras for a quick snapshot. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.